Have you ever wondered why so many elderly people quietly slip away before reaching 82, even though they seemed healthy just a few years earlier? It's not heart disease, cancer, or some dramatic accident. No, it's something far more silent and shockingly overlooked. I'm Dr. James, a specialist in men's health with over 30 years of experience helping seniors not just add years to their lives, but add life to their years. Through decades of clinical practice, thousands of patients, and mountains of research, I've uncovered patterns that most doctors miss. What if I told you that one of the most powerful predictors of longevity after 60 isn't found in your blood pressure readings, your cholesterol numbers, or even your fitness level? Instead, it lies in something few seniors ever talk about, and many have mistakenly abandoned out of shame, fear, or misunderstanding. Today, I'm going to reveal a hidden key to staying vibrant, independent, and mentally sharp well into your 80s, 90s, and beyond. And the best part? You don't need expensive medications, exhausting workouts, or complicated diets. You already possess this tool within you, waiting to be reawakened. Stay with me, because in just a few minutes, I'll walk you through the simple yet revolutionary steps you can start applying immediately to reclaim your vitality. And I promise, the last part may change the way you look at aging forever. Before we continue, if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you'll never miss important health advice designed to help you stay strong, vibrant, and independent. If you find this message meaningful, type 1 in the comments. If you feel there's something we can improve, type ZO. Your feedback helps us support you even better. Now that you understand just how vital this hidden aspect of your health truly is, let's begin by uncovering one of the most silent but devastating threats facing seniors today. A quiet epidemic that steals vitality, weakens the body, and shortens life long before its time: the loss of connection to physical pleasure. The silent epidemic among seniors: disconnection from physical pleasure. As I sit with patients in their 70s and 80s, I often see a quiet sadness behind their eyes, a resignation that life has somehow become smaller, colder, less connected. Over the years, I have come to recognize one of the most silent, yet devastating shifts that happens as people age: a gradual disconnection from their own bodies, from the physical pleasure that once made them feel so vibrantly alive. This isn't something many seniors talk about openly, and yet it's happening all around us, robbing men and women of their vitality, often without them even realizing it. You see, somewhere along the way, society whispered a dangerous lie into our ears, that intimacy, touch, and sexual expression belong only to the young, that once we pass a certain birthday, we must quietly close the door on that part of our humanity. Many seniors internalize this message, believing that seeking or enjoying physical pleasure is somehow inappropriate, shameful, or simply no longer possible. Some withdraw due to physical changes, others because of emotional scars or losses, and still others because they simply don't know that it's not only possible, but necessary for lifelong health. What most people don't realize is that this disconnection triggers a silent downward spiral. Without regular stimulation, blood flow diminishes to vital organs. Neural pathways tied to pleasure begin to atrophy. Hormonal balance starts to tilt in the wrong direction. Little by little, the body loses resilience, not just sexually, but mentally, emotionally, and physically. Sleep worsens, mood declines, energy fades, Over time, even the immune system weakens, and the risk of chronic illnesses like heart disease, dementia, and depression quietly rises. I have seen this firsthand so many times. Once vibrant men and women who slowly lose their spark, not because their hearts failed or their bones grew brittle, but because the very life force that sustained them was neglected. It's not an exaggeration to say that physical pleasure, intimacy with oneself or with another, is one of the pillars of human vitality. Abandoning it out of fear, shame, or misinformation doesn't just steal joy, it steals years. And yet, there is hope. Reconnecting with your body, reawakening those long-forgotten sensations, can begin a healing process far deeper than most realize. It's never too late to rediscover what your body is still capable of giving you. In fact, it might just be the key to unlocking better health, sharper memory, and deeper emotional resilience than you thought possible. But what exactly makes physical pleasure so uniquely powerful in protecting your brain, your heart, and even your future independence? Stay with me, because what you're about to learn may change everything you thought you knew about aging well. If you're still here and these insights are speaking to you, I'd love for you to type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're walking this journey with me. Now let's continue forward and uncover the powerful truth behind point number 2. Why masturbation after 60 is critical for longevity. For many years, I witnessed the subtle yet powerful transformations that occurred in my patients who remained connected to their bodies as they aged. One truth became overwhelmingly clear. Maintaining physical pleasure, including solo sexual expression, was not merely a luxury, it was a crucial foundation for lasting health and longevity. This may surprise you, especially if you've grown up in a culture that taught you to view such topics with discomfort or even shame. But biology speaks louder than social convention, and it tells a very different story. After 60, the body faces natural declines in circulation, hormonal production, muscle tone, and neurological function. However, regular masturbation has been shown to counteract many of these effects. When a senior engages in sexual expression, even without a partner, the body responds in remarkable ways. Blood flow surges through the brain, heart, and extremities, nourishing tissues that might otherwise begin to deteriorate. Endorphins flood the bloodstream, naturally lowering stress levels and supporting restful sleep. Testosterone levels rise modestly, helping to preserve muscle mass, bone density, and emotional resilience, all critical pillars of vibrant aging. Perhaps even more fascinating is the impact on the brain. Neuroscientific studies reveal that sexual pleasure stimulates multiple regions of the brain, simultaneously maintaining neural pathways associated with memory, emotional regulation, and executive function. In simpler terms, it keeps the brain young, flexible, and alive. I have seen patients who embrace this practice show sharper thinking, greater creativity, and even a brighter outlook on life than those who resign themselves to physical withdrawal. Yet beyond the biological benefits, there's something deeper at work. Masturbation after 60 represents an act of self-recognition, a way of affirming that your body remains worthy of care, affection, and pleasure. It pushes back against the damaging myth that aging equals fading away. Instead, it reminds you, powerfully, that life can still be felt fully, richly, and personally. This emotional connection to oneself often inspires broader positive changes, better eating habits, a renewed interest in social activities, even a stronger desire to move and exercise. When patients ask me if it is too late to reawaken this part of their lives, I tell them gently but firmly, it is never too late. Your body may need more time, more patience and a gentler touch, but it is still capable of deep, nourishing sensations that fuel your spirit and extend your health far beyond what you might expect. Now, you might be wondering, if the benefits are so profound, why do so many seniors still struggle to maintain this vital connection? The answer lies in a series of hidden, heartbreaking misconceptions, and that's exactly what we're about to uncover next. Common misconceptions that steal seniors' vitality. 3 common misconceptions that steal seniors' vitality. Throughout my years of practice, I have come to see how easily strong, vibrant men and women fall prey to quiet misconceptions that slowly chip away at their vitality. Often, they do not even realize it is happening until one day they wake up feeling like a shadow of the person they once were. These beliefs are not just harmless misunderstandings, they are powerful, invisible forces that convince seniors to abandon one of their most potent sources of health and happiness. One of the most heartbreaking misconceptions is the idea that after a certain age, physical pleasure simply no longer matters. I cannot count how many times I have heard someone say, "I'm too old for that," with a sad, resigned smile. But the truth is, age does not erase your body's ability or need for intimacy and touch. It merely changes the way that need is expressed. Giving up on this part of yourself because you believe it is irrelevant is like choosing to live in a house but never turning on the lights. You might survive, but you will miss out on so much warmth, color, and beauty. Another painful belief is that seeking pleasure alone is somehow shameful. Many grew up in an era where self-pleasure was whispered about with embarrassment or treated as a moral failing. Those old messages can sink deep into the heart, creating layers of guilt that linger even into the later decades of life. But let me say this clearly, and with all the compassion in my heart, caring for your own body is not shameful. It is an essential act of honoring your life, your health, and your spirit. There is also the dangerous myth that conserving sexual energy will somehow preserve strength. In reality, it is quite the opposite. Regular sexual activity, including solo activity, fuels the body's systems, boosting hormones, maintaining circulation, and preserving tissue health. Like a muscle that grows weaker with disuse, the parts of us responsible for pleasure need regular activation to stay alive and vibrant. Perhaps the most damaging misconception of all is the belief that sexual health is somehow separate from overall health. They are deeply connected, intertwined in ways that modern science is only beginning to fully understand. When you nourish one, you nourish the other. When you neglect one, both wither. Understanding these misconceptions is the first step toward reclaiming the vibrant, powerful life that still lies ahead of you. But knowing is only half the battle. What you need next is a clear, practical roadmap to reconnect with your body in ways that feel natural, comfortable, and safe. And that's exactly where we are heading next. If you're still with me and finding these insights valuable, I invite you to type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're following along. Now let's move forward and explore the important lessons waiting for us in point number 4. The restoration method, reclaiming sexual vitality, step by step. 4. The restoration method, reclaiming sexual vitality, step by step. When I first began helping older patients reconnect with their bodies, I realized many of them needed more than just encouragement. They needed a path, not vague ideas, not wishful thinking, but a real, practical method they could follow with confidence. That's how the restoration method was born. It's a step-by-step process designed specifically for the aging body, respecting the changes that come with time while reigniting the vital connection between mind and body that so often fades. The first step is preparation. Before anything else, you must create a space where you feel safe, comfortable, and free from interruption. Set the temperature just right, choose a comfortable chair or bed, and have a high-quality lubricant on hand. These small acts send a powerful message to your body. You matter, and your health is worth the effort. Relaxation follows. This is not a race, and it's not a chore. Start by breathing deeply, letting your muscles soften and your heart rate slow. Feel the tension leave your body piece by piece, like sand, slipping through open fingers. This simple act of presence can open doors to sensations that you may have thought were closed forever. Next comes awakening. Here, you gently explore areas of your body you may have ignored for years: the inner thighs, the lower belly, the chest. Touch these places lightly, with curiosity instead of judgment. Notice how your body responds, even in small ways. These responses are signs that your body is still alive, still eager to connect with. Then comes focused stimulation. With no pressure or expectation, you gradually introduce more direct touch, allowing arousal to build naturally in its own time. Using slow, mindful movements instead of rushing creates a depth of sensation that is often lost in hurried experiences. It's not about reaching a finish line, it's about enjoying the journey your body is capable of taking you on. Finally, integration. This is the moment to pause, breathe, and thank yourself for choosing to invest in your own well-being. Let yourself savor the feeling of aliveness, no matter how subtle and intense it may be. In this quiet moment, healing takes root. This method is not about chasing after the past. It's about embracing who you are right now, with all the wisdom, strength, and tenderness that come with your years. And once you experience even a small spark of reconnection, you'll understand just how much potential still lies within you. But even with the right methods in place, the journey isn't always smooth. There are common pitfalls that can easily derail your progress, and in the next part, I'll show you exactly how to avoid the mistakes that most seniors unknowingly make, so you can stay on the path to lasting vitality. 5. Overcoming challenges. What to expect and how to succeed. Whenever I guide someone through the restoration method, I always remind them, real change is rarely a straight line. It is natural to encounter moments of doubt, frustration, or even discouragement. I have seen it happen time and again, not because people lack the desire to heal, but because they unknowingly fall into traps that make the journey harder than it needs to be. Knowing what to expect and how to respond can make the difference between giving up and transforming your health and vitality for good. One of the most common challenges is unrealistic expectations. Many seniors assume that if they do everything right, they should immediately feel the way they did in their 20s. When that doesn't happen, disappointment can set in. But the truth is, your body has changed, and that's not a failure. It's simply life. Success now is measured not by how quickly you reach intense pleasure, but by how much you reconnect with sensation, comfort, and presence. Even small improvements are signs that healing is taking place beneath the surface. Another obstacle is inconsistency. Like strengthening a muscle or restoring flexibility, rebuilding your sensual connection requires regular attention. Practicing only occasionally, when the mood happens to strike, is like watering a plant once a month and expecting it to flourish. Set aside time 2 or 3 times a week, not as a duty, but as an act of self-respect. Your body will respond to this kindness in ways that will gradually surprise you. Performance pressure is yet another hidden saboteur. When you focus too much on achieving a certain result, it creates stress and tightens the very muscles and blood vessels you are trying to relax. Let go of the idea that every session must end a certain way. Embrace the process. Feelings of pleasure, however subtle, are victories to be celebrated, not judged against youthful memories. And finally, shame can lurk in the background, quietly undermining your efforts. Many men and women carry old, buried feelings that whisper, "This isn't appropriate," or "I shouldn't need this." If that voice arises, meet it with compassion, not judgment. Remind yourself that seeking pleasure is not selfish or silly. It is part of honoring the miraculous body you still inhabit. Overcoming these hurdles is not always easy, but it is deeply worth it. Each step you take, each moment of patience and self-kindness strengthens not just your sexual vitality, but your overall spirit and resilience. And as you gain confidence, you may find yourself ready to embrace something even greater: the complete restoration of your health and energy through a simple yet transformative system built specifically for this season of your life. Get ready, because what I am about to share with you could be the most powerful shift you have ever made. Conclusion: reclaim your right to thrive. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with this truth: your body, your health, and your right to experience pleasure do not expire with age. They evolve, yes, but they do not disappear. Reclaiming this part of yourself is not about chasing youth. It is about honoring the life you still have within you, the strength that has carried you through decades of challenges, and the spirit that refuses to give up. I have seen men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s reignite a spark they thought was lost forever. And with it, they found renewed health, confidence, and joy. You deserve that too. It begins with one choice: to believe that you are still capable, still deserving, still alive in every sense of the word. Start small, stay patient, be gentle with yourself, and remember, every step you take toward reconnecting with your body is a step toward a future filled not just with more years, but with more life in every year. Your story is still being written. Choose today to write it with strength, dignity, and the fullness you were meant to enjoy.